Okay, I'm very excited to have on the Goldstein on Gelt show Marguerita Cheng. She's the CEO at Blue Ocean Global Wealth. She's also very, very involved in the CFP board. That's the Certified Financial Planner Board. Like me, Rita is a certified financial planner and has spent a lot of time trying to teach people about the importance of financial planning. And Rita, I want to bring that together with something that comes up a lot, which is the question of what to do when you get an inheritance. Because a lot of people, they get inheritance, and the first thing they think of is, how am I going to invest this money? And I think there's something else they should be thinking of first, which is really more about how they should plan to deal with the money. How do you talk to people about handling an inheritance?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to your show. The first thing that we talk about is you definitely want to have a plan. And here's what I mean by that. I always tell everyone that they need to have the time and space to be able to make a decision. So what do you mean, Rita? We don't know where and how you should invest until we take a look at your current investments as well as what your goals are.
What do you mean by space? Time, I understand. What do you mean by space?
We need to make sure that our clients and prospects, our prospects and clients, have the right time and mindset to be able to plan and think about what to do. And for some people, that may take a year or so, but planning allows them to be able to think into the future. And planning gives people confidence and clarity, or clarity and confidence about the steps they should take.
Don't you find that most people, by their nature, unfortunately, are not really big planners? So isn't it a little bit like pulling teeth when you tell someone, I know your whole life you don't plan, but now that you met me, I'm going to force you to do a plan?
It's true. By very definition, people don't like the idea of planning because it's a lot of work. I mean, I tell people straight up, I was like, this is a lot of work for you and me. Right. I just put it out there. I know it's a lot of work. But by building a strong foundation, it just means that we can have a better outcome. It is more work because we're more thorough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being thorough is important. But what is the work really involved? When you tell someone, a person comes into the office and says, Rita, I got $1 million inheritance and, what do I do? And you say, well, you got a plan and there's going to be work involved. And he says, well, what work do I have to do? And what work does he have to do?
So sure, this is what I tell people. And I say, whether you work with me or any other certified financial planner, he or she is going to want to know your assets, your liabilities, your income, your policies, and your expenses. Policies means like your insurance coverage and so forth. So I tell people that I'm going to need quantitative data. So how's your money invested? But more importantly, I need to know qualitative information. So what's important to you? What experience have you had with other planners? How do you make decisions? To be honest, when I explain it like that, people are like, yeah, that is work, but it makes sense, Rita. Mm-hmm. And so in a way, this process self-selects people. If people don't want to do the work, I still love them. I just might not be the best planner for them, and that's okay.
Right. I think it's a very important issue that finding a good planner is important, but also for a planner to find a good client. I realized that also as well many years ago. I said, people used to come in and they'd say, well, Doug, I want to do some stock trading. And so I would say, well, it's not really my thing. And they'd say, yeah, but I see you're a licensed stockbroker. I say, I know, I'm licensed. And the fact is I like stocks. I enjoy talking about it and I like the research, but I don't really do that. And if they really insist on being a stock trader, I always tell them, maybe there's a better place for you because that's just not our approach. So I think it goes both ways. Planners have to find clients that fit and clients have to find planners that fit. We're talking with Rita Cheng, who is the CEO at Blue Ocean Global Wealth. She's also a CFP like I am, and she spends a lot of time on education, teaching people not just how to become rich, but how to think about money and how to plan about their money. We've been talking so far about what someone might experience when he or she goes to a CFP if he gets an inheritance. And all of a sudden the advisor says, you need to start planning and there's going to be work involved. I need to know information about your income, expenses, insurance, assets, liabilities. All right, Rita, so let's dive a little further. Let's say the client gets all this information for you and then says, okay, I've done my homework. Here are my tax returns, my brokerage statements. This is the inheritance, my kids, my spouse. What next?
The first thing that I tell clients is we are not making any investment decisions right now. What we are doing right now is we are assessing your situation. So I'm assembling all this information. You're not making a decision whether you're going to sell stock ABC or purchase stock XYZ. We are assembling your financial plan and helping you assess where you are and then think about where you want to go. And when we break these things down for clients, they feel more comfortable. Yes, it's more work, but they can see, oh, I never looked at it that way. I can see all my assets. I can see, oh my goodness, that's the stock that I inherited. And it gives them peace of mind. Yes, they miss their loved one, but they know that we are being intentional in the work we're doing.
Yeah, I think that's a good word. I think that being intentional means that you're going step by step. You know, a lot of times, I'm sure you've seen this as well, people come in and they think that, oh, you know, she's a money manager. She handles money. And they say, well, you know, what's your track record? That's the first question. I often try to explain to people why that's not a great first question. What do you think is the best way for someone to start interviewing a planner? What are the important questions? Is asking, what are your returns, a really important first question?
Oh, Doug, I love that question. I've had people say, Rita, what's your track record? Track record assumes that you're investing everybody's money the same way, which is extremely misleading because every client is truly unique. So this is what I said. I said during the global financial crisis, no one fired me. No one had to go back to work. And everybody's child that was accepted to their school of choice, their parents could pay for it. They could go to their school of choice. And I laughed here. I said, wink, wink. I said they could pay for their school of choice. I didn't say I could get them into their school of choice.
Yeah, no promises on that front. Okay.
Right. And they all laughed. But I don't think that's a very good question to ask. I would start out with, tell me about your philosophy.
Nice.
The other thing I would say is, what type of client do you typically work with? How do we pay for your services? Do you help us implement your financial plan? These kinds of questions.
Yeah, I actually think it's very interesting. I think also because I've been in the business now about 25 years, and over time it's developed. You know, all young planners, they want to help everyone and do everything. And then since I moved to Israel 23 years ago, it turns out that I spend most of my time dealing with people who have expatriated from the United States. They've moved to Israel. And generally, the people tend to be retired or they get an inheritance. And the reason why is because those are the people who are usually dealing with a big money event. And it's something that they really have to begin to plan for. Yeah, I like the question when people ask about my philosophy because I think that gives me a chance to really express who I am and what I'm doing. If someone asks you, Rita, what is your philosophy? How would you describe it?
What's interesting is my first job in finance, I actually was an analyst. So, of course, I have the quantitative skills to pick stocks, but that's not why people hire me. My people hire me because they want clarity about their situation. They want confidence to plan for the future, and they want a sense of control. And it's okay to be a control freak. We want to control what we can control, how we plan, how we invest, how we react to the market. So my philosophy is education first. I think it's very important to separate financial planning advice or personal finance advice from investment advice. So that's my philosophy, and that's how I answer the question.
I really like that. I like that you point out that people want to control. I also like to control. And there are things we can control that are so important, like our plan, what investments we choose, and how we're going to react to the market. And the most important thing for everyone to realize is that we can neither control nor predict the market itself. You know, Rita, one thing I say, I couldn't have predicted how quickly this interview was going to go. You have so much good information, but unfortunately, we are just about out of time. So in the last few seconds, tell me, how can people follow you and follow your work?
People can visit www.blueoceanglobalwealth.com. They can also find me on LinkedIn, I'm Marguerita Cheng. And then finally, Twitter, @BlueOceanGW.
Okay, we will put links to all of that at the show notes of today's show at goldsteinongelt.com. Rita Cheng, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
You've been listening to the Goldstein on Gelt Show with money maven Doug Goldstein. Check out all of Doug's money ideas at goldsteinongelt.com. Doug specializes in helping people who live outside the United States handle their U.S. investment accounts. If you have a question that you would like answered on the air or off, contact Doug at his website or send him an email to doug@profile-financial.com.